Welcome back to my channel. Please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you. To make our turban with ruffled loops, we are going to be making use of this material. It's more like, is it mustard, or I don't know, I think mustard yellow. So, and it is actually quite stretchy. So I'm going to be using the round band with a plain base for this, because this already has pattern, so there's no need to make a fully pleated turban. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut out the body of our turban and the band. So the measurement I'm going to be using for the head circumference is going to be 23 inches. If you have watched my previous videos on a turban base, you understand. But because this turban is not, the material is not all that stretchy, I'm going to be adding half inch to sew it. So what you are going to be seeing here is 12 inches. 12 inches. You know that 23 inches divided by 2 is 11 and a half. So I'm going to be adding half, which is going to make it 12. And don't forget, this is actually on fold. For the body of the material, this side, what I'm going to be marking out is 12 inches. So this is going to be 12 inches by 12 inches. But don't forget, this part right here is on fold. After cutting the body, the next thing we want to cut out is our band. And just like I said earlier, we are going to be making use of round band. So round band is your exact measurement. That is the 12 inches that I use for the head circumference by whatever you want to use for the width. And I'm going to be using 4 inches for the width. What you want to do right now with the body and the band is, you are going to go over to your sewing machine. You are going to fold this over. Remember the 4 inches that we marked, so you're going to be folding it over. So this is going to be 2 inches, and then you will join it to the body. This is what you should have after joining your band to your body. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to go over to your sewing machine right now, and then you take this side, right side facing, and then you're going to sew. Now when you are sewing it, you are sewing it all the way around, but you will not finish sewing it. You're going to be leaving, like, let's say, an inch or 3/4 of an inch. After sewing it, you should have something like this. Now don't forget, I said you should leave like half an inch at this end part right there. Can you see? This is the part that we folded over. What we want to do now is we want to make our ruffled loop. Yes. So what are we going to be doing? We are going to be using this exact material. You can actually decide to use a different material of the same color, maybe like a silk or a satin material, to give it a different look and I don't know, aesthetics. So but I'm going to be using this material. Now what I'm going to go ahead to do is I'm going to be measuring out 8 inches by 25 inches. And you see what I've measured out here is 12.5. Why? Because the material is on fold, but over here what I'm going to be measuring will be 8 inches. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over to our sewing machine, and we are going to be running straight stitches across our 8 inches. Don't forget, we have 12.5 inches on fold by 8 inches, so we are going to be running straight stitches by that 8 inches. This is what you should have after sewing it. The next thing we want to do right now is we want to introduce this to our base. Now note that this part where the seam is not showing is your right side, while this part where your seam is showing is going to be your wrong side. And what you will do next is just take it like so, like the way I'm taking it, like so. And then you remember that 1 inch hole that we left, we are going to be inserting this through it. So after inserting it through it, the next thing we want to do is we are going to open this our turban here as well, and then we are going to be sewing this and this together. Now you have to take note of something. You must ensure that this side is the right side. Do you understand? So when you want to sew it like so, this part right here is going to be the wrong side. That is where the seam is showing. So what you are going to be doing is you are going to just take it, and then you just sew it in a form that will make it, I don't know how to explain that part, something like this. So you're not going to sew it straight, you're just going to sew it like make it, sew it in a ruffled form. So you take it to your sewing machine and just do that. I hope that makes sense. This is for tutorial 6. I'm just going to be sewing with my thread and my needle. This is what we have. I actually use my thread and my needle because I was too lazy to go to my sewing machine. So before we turn it over, what we want to do next is, don't forget this back place like this. We can't leave it like this. So what we are going to do is, we're going to take our threaded needle and just like half an inch away from the band, you are going to go ahead and gather it. Now when you are gathering it, you are gathering it just to this side. You are not gathering it all the way to this place. So I'll go ahead and tie it off really well. So now the next thing we want to do is, we want to turn this to the right side like so. This is what we have. I'm going to go ahead. Anyway, you would have seen this video in the beginning of this tutorial, and you will see how beautiful this is. So if you are using a material that is not as thick as this, you can go ahead and use 8 inches by, I'm talking about for the loop, 8 inches by 30 inches for the length. Yeah, because this material is thick, that's why I use 25 inches. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share, and also turn on your notification button so that you can get notified when I post a new video. Thank you very much. Bye.